How is everybody doing today? Hopefully, everybody is doing well and amazing. We want to welcome you all to the Hello LLC. If you don't know, Hello stands for Helping Entrepreneurs Leverage Web3 Optimizations. And more importantly, it's about pivoting you from 2D to 3D. And today's amazing conversation is our Wisdom Wednesday conversation, where we're going to be having an amazing conversation on don't be a blockhead, be your own bank with fintech technology. And that is what today's conversation is going to be all about, especially for you all to understand. This is not do that and the other. This is really about us helping you understand the foundation of what is about to come. That is no longer where you can sit there and say, oh, I don't believe in crypto. Oh, I don't believe in this. That's like you saying you don't believe in Amazon, Google before it was known, because it's happening. And the federal government and a lot of the actual big businesses such as BlackRock, JP Morgan, these companies are implementing this crypto fintech technology that a lot of people have been misunderstood what it is about, how it can be able to help you, especially if you're a business owner doing business around the world, because that is now where we're at on a global scale of doing business with each other. And so this is why I'll share with you guys all. Please be sure to understand your words carry weight. And a lot of the times we don't understand how important our words carry. And not just because it's not meant for you, but your words carry for everyone, no matter how it comes across. Because what you say, how you say, is going to carry. And people can take it in a bad and a good way. And a lot of the times it comes off, in a way that we might not mean, that might be taken back, but then we still run with that negative energy, that negative vibration. And that in itself doesn't tend to work out good, especially as we're moving forward into the future, understanding that you saying, oh, I don't believe in crypto. Oh, I don't believe in, the metaverse. Oh, I don't believe in the AI. Your words carry weight, because especially your community, your surroundings that you're with, you might say that, and then that your same surroundings or your same group might have the same mentality or take on the same mentality that you have. And then we have a whole group and a whole society of people believing in something that is just based off of feelings, something that is just based off of opinion, something that might be based off of a tactic or something that happened to them in the past that now they've X'd it all out. It's kind of like you saying some bad transaction went down online, and so now you're not ordering anything online, and that doesn't work out well for you, right? And so this is where we're having the conversation of really with this crypto, with this fintech, with this, this new technology that's arising that we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks, if not more, right? Really focusing on it more, is that we're showcasing the facts. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Tara is going to be leading this conversation on Be Your Own Bank with Fintech. You guys make sure you come and join us tomorrow for our Hello Pivot live in Metaverse with our amazing guest, Miss Jen Lin, who we're going to be talking about hero to brand, the power of authentic connection. This woman has been a firefighter, a paramedic. Now she's helping people out with their business, their brand. So she's made a completely 180 loop and being able to really showcase her story and help other people do the same. And so she's going to be our special guest for tomorrow. And then definitely come and join us for our Friday or Saturday, where Tara and myself are actually podcast guests on Roberta Pacino's, Al Pacino's sisters, Kiss of Fame podcast that we're a part of. And so we cannot wait to be a part of that amazing conversation. And so without further ado, Tara, take it away.
Happy day, beautiful people. It is a beautiful Wednesday wherever you are, because you are alive and breathing. And so we thank you for being here. We are excited about this conversation about cryptocurrency, blockchain, fintech. I like to say fintech most of the time because fintech is the overall arching umbrella of this entire industry. It's financial technology. That's what Fintech stands for. And so a lot of times when I, am speaking within the Web3 financial space, I will speak about, Fintech as a whole. And so today's conversation, again, as David shared, it is not financial advice. The point of the reason why we're having a conversation today is to be able to lay knowledge out, strategies, so that way you can strategize how to best utilize Fintech in your business, in your brand, maybe even your personal life, however you choose, and be able to be ready for what is coming. A lot of times people think that the future is down the road. We kind of think of the Jetsons, and the Jetsons, how futuristic, driving a car, robot, cleaning the house, the robot dog, and all of that. But you guys have to understand, the moment that AI broke out onto the scene, we are here in Fintech land. We're here in Web3 space. And so that means at the end of the day that we have, we do, we are here to help everybody. There's no power. Sorry, guys. I was trying to tell David there was no power. So in the short of it, this conversation is to be able to help people gain knowledge and works as a system, and that way they can strategize and use this knowledge, and compared to other knowledge that they either have heard or the research you have done. Again, our entire motive here is to give you guys knowledge so that, and encourage you and inspire you to go out and get your own research, because that's what this is about. So today we're talking about how to become your own bank utilizing Fintech technology. And so let's break that down for the short, sweet, and simple to understand that. So right now, most of us, outside of the 1.2 billion people that do not have access to a bank, utilize a bank. And so at the end of the day, we all utilize a bank in the sense of being able to hold our money, to be able to utilize that in the sense of, a place to have convenience if we're tapping, swiping, or whatever it is. And so it comes down to the simple fact that Fintech is going to maybe shake up the industry, the banking industry. And when I say maybe, I put my air quotes up so y'all can read through that how you want to. In my opinion, and only my opinion, it's definitely going to be a shakeup in the industry. It's definitely going to shake up the financial industry. And that is because it is going to move the power away from the banks into your own hands. And that is really ultimately how you're going to be able to become your own bank, is because you will be able to hold your own assets, money, whatever that is. If you have investments, if you have a deed to a house, whatever that looks like, you're going to be able to have that information at your fingertips in a decentralized way to where you own that, and you no longer have to have a bank hold your assets so they're not sitting in your mattress at home. It's no longer going to be where you are at the fingertips of, having to go down to the county assessor's office because they hold the deed to your house. You're not going to have to go, down and find out any other pertinent information, investments. You're not going to have to log into someone else's app like a Charles Schwab or a BlackRock or whoever you utilize to do your investments. It's all going to be within your realm, your control. And essentially that makes you a bank at the beginning portion of it, right? And so the definition of a bank is simply an entity or an institution that holds your monetary assets and or can provide financial products to you, i.e. such as loans and whatnot, right? And so today we're going to have the conversation around how you're able to understand where we're going within the fintech community, how the evolution of cryptocurrency and blockchain is moving through a massive evolution right now that many of us are not aware of because of the geopolitical content that is always in our face, in the lack there of them communicating the financial content that is happening. So the financial transition that's happening behind the scenes that they don't want you to know about, they kind of cover that with other things, whether it's in the entertainment industry, whether, and this is not a conversation about politics. This is not a conversation about he said, she said, or did anybody do it? But this is where they start throwing a bunch of stuff into your face, like the whole Diddy thing, with the house being raided and all of that. They start throwing in a lot of the geopolitical things that we see overseas. We start to see all of these conversations, but nothing around financial technology and where we're going on that. Now, it is written, it is published, but you have to go look for it. You have to search for it, utilize your search engine to get there. But most of the time, at the end of the day, they are not bringing that out to mainstream industry to where it is at CNN in front of your face to say, hey, this is what we're doing, right? And they do that on purpose because the less you know about financial switches, the less opportunity you have to take advantage of and possibly, more than likely, change your life and change your financial direction and for generations to come. And so that's just the name of the game. It's kind of, watch over here. Don't watch what we're doing here. Check this out over here and don't see what we're doing off to the left-hand side, because they don't want, they want to mitigate the amount of people that see it. And so that way it doesn't bring attention to it. And then because that way we don't get the opportunity. So did you know that 77% of businesses rely on traditional banking systems right now for their everyday procedures? And I will be honest, that was from a conversation in a report done by Bankrate. But I will be 100% honest. At the end of the day, I am sure it's higher than that, because if we think about it, we live in a society right now where probably the majority of people are paid with direct deposit of some sort. A lot of companies are taking credit cards, so they have to have some sort of banking institution be able to send that to and have that connected. If they're writing checks, because most businesses are not doing business in cash. So it comes down to there's a financial paper trail through a financial institution. And so it is important to understand that that is a large portion of the current businesses, 77%. And again, I'll say it's probably closer to 85, 90% if we really dug in. But because of the way things are, set up, that, it doesn't catch it when they do reports like that. So anyways, point being is that Fintech is a huge, I don't want to say competitor, but it is definitely going to bring some waves when it shows up fully on scene. And now, what do we mean fully on scene? Because, well, Tara, I can go out right now, and if you're talking about Fintech and that it's the overall arching umbrella to blockchain and NFTs and cryptocurrencies, all of that's available right now. I can get my hands on all that available right now. Yes, you can. Absolutely. And you're very smart to do so. If you have, congratulations. It is about getting in on these projects at an early time before they come to full maturity and take over like Microsoft and Google and Facebook have. So in that statement, it is ideal to understand that when we come down to talking about the financial technology, and if it's here, because yes, you can get your hands on it, it doesn't have full regulations yet. Now, that is changing. There's regulation conversations starting to happen within the United States political systems. I will tell you that Fintech, cryptocurrency, blockchain, NFTs, all of that are going to be a hot topic this election season. So, a lot of the candidates are going to be speaking to that point, because at the end of the day, the younger generation who does not usually show up to vote, who is, I think about, they were talking about, it was like 50 million in the kind of realm of the younger population that doesn't really show up to vote. That's a huge swing if they can get those voters on their side. And so cryptocurrency, blockchain, fintech is that conversation that is going to get their attention, because these individuals want to be, they want, well, let me just say it this way. The younger generation is about working smarter than harder. They're about making sure that, they're not about college and going to traditional college. They're about, making money on a YouTube channel, through social media, through some sort of, drop shipping or online Web3, heck, right now, IKEA is now hiring in their Sandbox store. So you can go to their Sandbox store, and they're now hiring for cashiers and individuals at like $16.42 an hour. That's almost well over twice the national minimum wage. Just got to spit my words out there. I was like, what am I trying to think of? So the national minimum wage is like $7 and some odd cents, 50 cents, 20 something cents. And so this is double and then some. And so this is just the new way of how people are showing up to be making money in the new space of business, because it's not really coming down to the traditional belly to belly. People are wanting to be online. It's why we are a Web3 agency that helps businesses make the pivot from Web2 to Web3. And so, it is a understanding that we're at a cusp of making a transition. And if you know the bell curve, you have the big old long line before it starts to make the up tick to the top of the bell. And then at the top of the bell is mass adoption. And then off the backside is everybody and their mama, grandma, and everybody. And it's too late to get in at that point. That is where we're at right now. We're at the back end of that bell curve, where it comes down to Google and Microsoft and some of these stocks that you could have got in the late 90s that would have changed your entire perspective, financial direction, and generational direction, probably for that matter, through those investments. And so fintech is a solution to the current financial system that we have. And you might ask, well, what's wrong with the current financial system? Well, it's very old and clunky. It might appear on the front end between you and I on applications from user to user, like, PayPal or Venmo or Cash App. It might appear instant. Like if you send me Cash App, or if I send you Cash App immediately, that Cash App is going to show up instantly the second that someone sends it to you. But in reality, it's not instant on the backside. On the backside, it's still multiple days that it takes to post to the ledger of wherever it was going and being sent from. And so currently, it is 3 to 5 business days as well. It comes down to the simple fact that if you made a purchase on Friday evening after 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or on a Saturday or Sunday, you're not going to see that post to your bank account until 3 days later, which is Tuesday morning, possibly even Tuesday at some point, maybe even Wednesday. But that right there is the 3 to 5 business days that they talk about, or 3 to 5 days that they talk about, because if it was business days, that would be already at the end of the week. So we all know that, because how many of us have gotten caught in the check getting deposited and then having bills come out, and, sometimes one comes in before the other, and all of a sudden you're upside down. You're like, no, give it 15 more minutes. I got my check will be deposited. And it's all that. It's that posting instantly transactions that we know that right now, face to face, it is instant. So it seems like we have no reason for solutions. But in reality, it is not so. It is taking those 3 to 5 days on the backside, which basically means that Bank A, or financial institution A, and financial institution B, they have to write them each other an IOU. Like, all right, Bank of America, you from Wells Fargo, you owe us $5 jillion from all the transactions of Bank of America, customers did this weekend on our terminals, right? So it can be very convoluted, but essentially at the end of the day, it takes a long time. 3 to 5 days is a long time. It costs a lot of money. Have you ever tried to wire money somewhere, or send money through like Western Union or any of those entities, it costs a lot. They have to get their fees in it. So that way that's where they make their money. Again, guys, traditional financial institutions and banks, they make their money through the fees that they charge us. So the monthly fees that they charge on our accounts, the bare minimum fee that they always, charge you a $12 or $14 fee for the month. They get it from the overdraft fees. They get it from any wiring that you're doing or any sort of bill pay, because sometimes they charge a fee on the bill pay as well. They charge a fee everywhere. It is all about, collecting your money and investing your money as they hold it, quote unquote, hold it. And they invest it, make money off of that. And in addition, turn around off the money that they make off of that and loan that money out and then collect the interest that they charge on those loans. So that is how a traditional banking institution makes their money from us as consumers. And so when we hand them our money, not only are they immediately going and investing all of it into bonds or the stock market or whatever it is, they are also, charging us fees to hold that money. And that is where they then, start excelling. So when fintech shows up to the scene, it absolutely is a disruptor in the market because it is cutting out a lot of those, what we call as consumers problems, but what the financial institutions claim it as how to make money. And so that, as David always shares, power is never going to relinquish power. And so it comes down to the simple fact of understanding that there is a problem with the traditional banking system. There's obviously a problem if we're just printing trillions of dollars at the whelm of, just the whim of things like, yeah, let's print some more money. That creates a massive backlash and a massive wave of issues that we're now dealing with in our economy right now because of that. We have to understand in 1973, when we were pulled off of the gold standard, meaning Nixon removed the gold backing, meaning every dollar that was printed, there was some gold that was equivalent that was in the Federal Reserve in holding that backed that dollar. That, in 73 ended when Nixon pulled us off of the gold reserve. And that then caused us to lose the appreciation of what our dollar value was. So our dollars immediately lost 50% of its value the moment that they did that. Well, to get that back, they went over in 1974 and had a conversation with Saudi Arabia, which was, less than a year later, and said, hey, Saudi Arabia, you're the largest oil producer in the world. And we will make a deal with you that if you will trade your oil only in US dollars, meaning if you sell oil to any other country, including us, you sell it to them in US dollars. And that way, at the end of the day, we will then turn around and provide you worldwide military support and protect you. And so it was a protection. It was kind of like I was listening today a conversation about the Italian mob, where they would go in and ask for money, and in return, they would give protection to that entity. And that's essentially what happened, is that we went into Saudi Arabia and said, hey, you trade their gold in US dollars, which is then it became the petrodollar. And then from that point, we turned into, their protector. And that's why you always see us involved in geopolitical stuff over in the Middle East because of that agreement. So it is a lot of information to understand, but it is very useful that when we sit down and understand this entire situation of what's going on, you can really start to see where we are going and why fintech, blockchain, and cryptocurrency is so heavily important moving forward. So with that said, we want to take a brief minute and just say, welcome on in, everybody. Thanks for being here. We greatly appreciate it. Omalara. It took me a second to slow down and say hi. Thank you for being here, and everybody else that's jumped in, everybody over on Twitch and X Spaces, Facebook, or YouTube. We greatly appreciate you, as well as those that are all in the metaverse watching us, LinkedIn, and we just greatly appreciate and Instagram. So thank you all for being here and around this conversation. You're more than welcome to jump up here, ask questions, drop them in the chat if you have questions. We greatly appreciate any questions that you have. This is an open conversation for you guys to be able to have us place to ask these questions. If we don't know, we will honestly tell you, hey, we don't know that. You know, that is not something we're well diverse in, and we don't want to give you a misdirection, because our goal in our conversation today is to lay out the playing field of the facts of what is going on, where we're at, what the solutions coming down the pipeline are, and why you'll see some resistance and what probably will come of it. And from there, that allows people, entities, and businesses, including individuals, to make their strategic analysis and plans to be able to understand what's going to be work best for them in the future. And so we greatly appreciate you guys here. You're more than welcome to jump in and watch us right now in the metaverse. We are live having this conversation. That's where you hear us from. It is from thehellollc.io. If you're in Clubhouse, you can click the link above our head. That will take you straight into our Business in a Box. And you scroll down and you can hit live events and you will be able to join us. It drops you right in there. And so again, thanks for being here, guys. We love to have this conversation, and let's get back to it. Mr. Jones, do you have any questions or comments that you want to add to this conversation before we move on down the pipeline?
Nope, keep it going.
Love it. Awesome sauce. So the reason why we want to identify the current system and where we're at and understand the problem that most consumers don't know is a problem, but it is a problem on the backside for financial institutions, is the old clunky, how long it takes, it costs a lot of money, and that it creates, well, from that point, it allows banking institutions to charge us a multitude of fees, so that way they can be profitable while we're allowing them to hold our money. Now, the whole reason why we got over into the banking system, the traditional banking system that we know today as Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, BBVA, any of these large institutions, HSBC, any of these large institutions, the reason we got into banking in the first place is the simple fact that we used to all keep our money in our mattress or hidden in the wall in our house or somewhere within our house. And so that made, having personal security, being personally secured at home even more valuable, because you didn't want anybody breaking into your house and stealing your money. Well, when banks came down the pipeline and said, hey, we have a secure vault and we can house your money. And in the olden days, they actually literally held on to the money. This was before they came up to fractionalized banking, and they were able to invest our banking, our money at the banks, and they don't hold it anymore. But in the beginning, they promised us the ability to say, hey, here's a vault. It is secure. Nobody can get into it, and we will hold everybody's money here. And that way we'll charge you a small monthly fee for that service, and you'll be all taken care of and don't have to worry about someone breaking in your house in the middle of the day or middle of the night. And so that is where traditional banking came down the pipeline. And it is something that has been around for 100+ years. And so now Fintech is coming down the pipeline, and it is challenging the traditional banking system. And so for those that I've already shared, Fintech is nothing more than the financial technology. That's what Fintech stands for. I slow that up and I share that. Some of you might already know that. Thank you for being, graceful with me sharing that, because some people don't know. And the whole point of the conversation that we're having today is make sure that people that don't understand Fintech, cryptocurrency, blockchain in a whole, start to understand that it is something that they can easily digest and be able to be a part of, right? Because that is what the whole goal of today, and anytime we have a conversation around any of our topics, is for people to understand so they can then move forward with the best strategy that works for them. So The reason why fintech challenges the banking system so much is because they're going to make payments go instant. So like if you right now, if you're sending Cash App, Venmos, PayPals, and money goes instantly to that other person, it is not instant on the backside. When fintech is involved and you are sending it and using the rails of financial technology, it will be instant. And instant is less than 5 seconds. That's what they consider instant right now. And so that is where we, again, if you've ever heard of, business owners sharing with, what made them popular or successful, besides the commitment and the consistency, it came down to the simple fact of them understanding that instant and more for the bang of their buck, and showing up in the sense of, not utilizing traditional banking systems where it's costing them money is the future of where we're going. And so it comes down, guys, that the banking system or the fintech system that is coming down the pipeline will be quicker, 3 to 5 seconds. It'll be faster, and quicker is faster. Sorry, it'll be cheaper. And so the other day I heard of, I was watching an interview of a gentleman who owns an investment firm and a hedge fund firm. Sorry about that. You need to say that 14 times fast. But he owns a hedge fund. And so they send large amounts of money around the world. And they needed to send, about a month ago, $50 million from one account to another account outside of their institution. So it wasn't internal. It was from their institution to another institution, or to another person. And they were able to send 50 million with an M dollars in 3 seconds for the total of 20 cents. That's 0.20 cents. That is cents, not dollars. So right now, in the traditional way to send that would have cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to send that $50 million anywhere around the world. And so that's the point. And it would not have been instant. It was there in that person's hands in 3 seconds, not waiting pending for 3 days. And so that is the solution that that fintech provides the traditional banking system. And the point I was going to make earlier about, successful business people that share about that is they always say, what solution are you, or what problem are you solving? What solution are you coming up with that solves a problem? That is the biggest entity at play, is that all of us, any business that is successful and that is in business, is because they solve a problem. Now, it doesn't mean it's world hunger problem. Like the other day, I saw somebody create a business about, a monthly membership on dog baskets where they're sending doggy treats and all this. And, so there's a market for it. That's a solution to a problem. It's probably not the number one problem, but it's a problem. And so my point being is, fintech and the fintech companies within the realm of this industry are solving problems like how fast, how much money we will spend, and how, much time you wait until you get your money in your pocket. And so the reason that all of that is helpful and informative is because it comes down to the simple fact of, back to the topic at hand, is why or how will you and do you want to become your own banking institution? You're like, I don't want all those problems. I don't want to carry all the insurance like FDIC and have all of those headaches and deal with other people's money. I don't even like dealing with my money. Well, the point being is that it comes down to your money can be the same thing like the bank has, that you can be able to then loan out, invest out, however you choose to see fit. And so to become your own bank in a financial situation in fintech, it is the assets that you are going to hold. And so assets meaning cryptocurrencies, NFTs, anything that they choose to tokenize, any tokenized asset that they choose to tokenize. Right now, they're talking about gold and silver and copper. They're talking about tokenizing, technology, hardware, things like that. Everything that you see right now while you look around while listening to this conversation will be tokenized at some point in the future. In the beginning, it's going to be major assets before they move to the minor assets like your lipstick or your chapstick or your purse, right? And so understanding that everything is going to live on the blockchain, which is, very important to understand. Fintech is the overall arching umbrella. Blockchain is what is the digital ledger. So that way there is a there's private ledgers that companies hold, and there's public ledgers. And the public ledgers are what then are uploaded and carried on the blockchain. And the reason they call it blockchain is because it is a chain of digital blocks full of data. And that data is your transactions that you've done with a cryptocurrency, with a smart contract, also known as an NFT, or through anything, a tokenization. Anything that's basically been given a serial number that lives on the blockchain. If you buy it, if you purchase it, sell it, trade it, hold it, a record is going to live on the blockchain. Now that is an anonymous record to where it is not your name, not your identity, but it is some sort of your name, your identity will be associated with some sort of a series of numbers and letters, kind of like a social security number for us Americans that know, that's not a number that we like to go around handing out, right? This will be the same thing. And so that is your blockchain. And in blockchain, you have your cryptocurrencies, as I've shared, which is just nothing but currencies that are technology based, that are not in a physical format. They're strictly and solely in a electronic format. Your NFT.
And Emmanuel, did you have anything you want to add? I saw that you had your hand up here over on our new chatter. Did you have anything you want to share?
No, not much, brother. I'm just testing out. I'm just playing around with it. I just got on here yesterday, so I thought I couldn't get into rooms because I was in some rooms that I couldn't get on stage. So I was like, man, did it break already or what happened? But yeah, thanks for bringing me up, bro. At least I know it works now. Yeah, no big deal. Yeah, I love blockchain and digital stuff, man. I'm all about it. I'm all about the future and building a crazy world that the tech guys and Nelson is doing here and what I'm doing on my end. And it's going to be a crazy 10, 20 years ahead of us.
That indeed, brother. That indeed. I don't know if you were in here, but I was able to share my screen. I saw you were able to share your screen as well. I was able to see you for a hot bit. And then can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Here, I'm gonna share my screen. I want to test this out because we have our metaverse that we're in Hello Plaza, and I want to see if I can still stay unmuted and share my screen with you in here. And so give me 1 sec.
Yeah, do it. But let me tell you, what happened when the pin links up top, when you click on them, it kicks the room. So that must be a bug.
Yeah, I think that's a bug because I took them down. You shouldn't be able to see them though, correct?
Oh, still see them right now.
You can still see them? Okay, I thought I hit them, and that's weird.
David, I still see them, and they're blank. There's nothing there, but when you click on it, boom, it kicks you out the room.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, see if...
Bro, it's not weird. It's just like I've been in tech, and I'm a tech founder myself, and I know how this shit works, man. It's like we were working through bugs for months and months. It's just there's so much going on this app that there's just going to be things that are, they're going to have to work on.
Absolutely. So let me know if you're seeing my shared screen right now.
I don't. This is cool to test it. You probably see me around on Clubhouse and stuff. Usually I like to be pretty private, and I don't like to get on stage and whatever, make a fool of myself or whatever. But like this one-on-one or a few people, I get up on stage and talk to people. But yeah, no, go ahead and share it. We can test it out a little bit.
Yeah, you don't see it? You don't see me sharing right now?
I don't. I still see the pin links, 2 of them.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay.
They do hide. I don't want to click on them because...
No, don't kick yourself out of the room. Okay, well, that just proved one of my points out. It's not letting me share my screen at this point, so that's just another bug that they have. But guys, right now, hold on. hold on one second. One second, Manuel, because we're on different platforms. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Clubhouse, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Twitch. We are multi-streaming everywhere and chatter right now. So I want to thank you guys all for joining us. I was just having a simple conversation with Manuel right now, trying to test out this new chatter that you guys are definitely going to be hearing more about. But go ahead, Manuel. I'm sorry, brother. I just had to let everybody know what was going on in the background.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know you were simulcasting. That's cool, man. That's awesome that Nelson did that. That's going to be amazing. Yeah, no, I still don't see the share screen, but what I was going to say, the other night, somebody was testing that out. It worked perfectly. So I don't know if you're doing, you're pushing the right buttons. But
yeah, I did the same thing I did yesterday, and it worked in one room I was in, but now it's not working. So that was a little weird because yesterday they were able to see me in Metaverse that I shared my screen, but it's crazy that you're not able to.
Yeah, not for sure. And when you're simulcasting right now, are the folks wherever else your audience is at, are they able to see the same thing that we're seeing?
No, because we're utilizing multiple different technologies, from a streaming service to 4 different phones to also in Metaverse. So we're gluing this all together, showcasing to our community where we are. And look at this, Chef Andy. We were just talking about you yesterday, talking about, man, we haven't seen Chef Andy. I said, watch, he's going to show up tomorrow. And so our energy is spot on with that. But yeah, Manuel, we're everywhere. We're even live in our Metaverse right now. We got about 12 people on X right now watching us. We have 2 people watching us live on our YouTube channel, 1 person watching us live on our Twitch channel. And then on LinkedIn, we have several people there as well. And then, of course, in here and then on all the other platforms. But yeah, everybody can hear you as well.
That's awesome, David. Yeah, this is going to be a game changer, man. I can't wait till they work out the bugs and get it to where it's just smooth sailing in the next few months. But yeah, this is amazing. Yeah, I'm just poking around rooms and seeing how it works. And I'm glad I got in. Nelson let me in, and it's going to be a game changer for sure.
Yeah, man, absolutely, absolutely. We're trying everything, and this is what we share with people, that you have to be able to expand your brand. A lot of the times, entrepreneurs, are just now getting to posting about their business, and that's just one concept of it. Now it's being able to build your community and be able to gamify these things and create an experience for your clients and customers of where they want to go. And then as we talk about this blockchain, this fintech, this crypto, you guys would be amazed. We did a room last week on, blockchain and what's the difference between blockchain and crypto. I got a message back from some lady saying, please don't message me about crypto. I'm not interested in it at all. And I'm like, oh my goodness. She's going to be get a huge eye opener here in the T-minus less than a year, to where everything is getting switched over as we've been talking about. And if people aren't paying attention, then they're going to get swiped upside the head with not understanding that this is going to be an advantage for us all, especially if you're a business owner, to be able to accept these multiple different currencies, especially as Tara just talked about earlier, with the decentralized of the dollar with Saudi Arabia, with the oil that is about to have a major impact. JP Morgan just said, hey, we're accepting this Bitcoin ETF. I just saw another post that BlackRock might be trying to get Solana, as an ETF. And so these are huge announcements that most people aren't paying attention to, that then are going to be wiped out by saying, oh, dang, I wish I would have paid attention, like I should have paid attention when somebody mentioned Amazon, or somebody mentioned Google, or somebody mentioned real estate. And then we all look back and we're like, damn, I should have done that. And so that's one of the big things that we share with people from the beginning.
Yeah, you got it, David. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm right here in Seattle where Amazon's at. I missed out on that. I missed out on Microsoft. I missed out on everything. But yeah, there's Nelson. Yeah, this is amazing, Nelson. This is going to be a game changer, brother.
Hey, Nelson, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Hey, bro, I came in earlier.
You're breaking in and out.
Yeah, he did the same thing. He ended up hitting the pin link and it kicked him out. That's what he's asking about. He's back in the audience. Can you bring him back?
Yeah, I just hit the button. Oh.
Yeah, so that's what he's concerned about. Like, okay, go ahead, Nelson.
I just brought you back up, Nelson. So I pinned the link up to the top, and you guys are seeing it, but I'm not seeing it. And even when you hit the link, it kicks you out the room. And you're on mute, Nelson, and I can't hear you. You guys are both on mute.
I was on mute. You can hear me, right? Yeah.
I can hear you, Emmanuel, but I can't hear Nelson.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Nelson. Yeah, something's going on with the pin.
So David jumps over there on that conversation, guys. He took that conversation. I'm going to jump back in over here to where we're having this conversation about, financial technology. Don't be a blockhead and how to become your own bank. And so thank you so much for being here, guys. If you have any questions, by the way, jump up here, put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. This is what this is all about, is be able to have an open conversation, be able to pick people's brains if you do have a question, because guys, I get it. When I first started learning about fintech, cryptocurrency, blockchain, I was so confused. I would jump into these rooms on Clubhouse and X and other places, and they would be so deep in the weeds about, really cool things like projects, but it was so high level. I thought they were talking gibberish. And so I share that with you guys just because I want you guys to know this is a safe space to ask questions. Jump in our DMs, send smoke signals, however you need to ask the question, jump up on stage. This is what that's about. But so let's jump back into this. Thanks so much for being here, and let's rock and roll. So we talked about, the traditional banking and how slow it is. And so, I shared what traditional fintech, I'm sorry, not traditional. I shared what fintech is, what cryptocurrency is, what the blockchain is, what NFTs are. NFTs, guys, they were utilized, a couple of years ago for artwork. A lot of people are like, that's just a JPEG, and you got a JPEG that is, you slapped an NFT to. It's a little more than that. And the reason why I say this is we had a great conversation a couple of weeks ago on our Hello Pivot Live with Miss Teresa Carpenter, and she is a naval officer. So she is a commander in the U.S. Navy. And she was asking us some questions about blockchain and cryptocurrency and NFTs. And she says, first question she asked was, I thought NFTs are kind of played out. And I said, well, from the sense of the mass, I want to say audience, but the masses of society, yes, because they saw it as like the ape NFT. It was a JPEG. It had, it was turned into an NFT, and then they sold different NFTs of it, different styles, and you earned money, or it appreciated over some time, and it made some money. And so in a way, yes, for that way, it is a little played out, but it's because it was just the hype right then. But what happens, and what people don't, and what I was explaining to Miss Teresa, is that what happens is that the full infrastructure is not in place yet. It is behind the scenes, but it's not been rolled out to the masses. And so because of that, it seems that it's not relevant. So NFTs are essentially a smart contract. They're going to be the smart contract that allows us to, for instance, our homes. David and I 2 years ago became digital nomads. We sold our home and we, left the country. And when we did that, boy, I tell you, we had a real estate agent. The other party, they had a real estate agent, obviously. And, $20,000+ later, after you pay your real estate agent fee, it really is like, man, it from a point of an appreciation, when you have an asset that's appreciated, and then the government comes along, or an agent or some sort of fee comes along, and it gets taken out of your money, like taxes and that. Don't all of us go, well, hold up, I saw a TikTok. I saw a TikTok a couple weeks ago, and it was this kid. He just turned 15, maybe 16. He was able to legally work, and he was so excited because he was getting his first check. And so his uncles took him and his brother took him up to his business, and he comes out and he has his check in hand, and it's in an envelope, and he gets in the back seat and they're filming him and they're like, okay, open up your check. And he opens it up and his face, like, he looks at the check and his face just drops immediately, like just went from so happy to like WTF. And all of it, like his two uncles and his brother were kind of laughing because they already knew what was happening. And he was looking at it and he's like scratching his head and he's looking at it and he's, got his head sideways and he's cocking it back and forth and he can't figure out what's going on. And he's reading his check stub. And his uncle finally said, "What's wrong?" And he says, "Well, I was supposed to make like $120, but I only have $80 here in my check. Like, what happened?" And his uncle said, "Good old Uncle Sam showed up and collected his money." And the kid was confused. He was like, "What do you mean?" And he says, "We pay taxes on our money we make." And his uncle said, "Yep, you absolutely do." And so I share that story, guys, because that's exactly how any of us feel that, when we have to transfer money, we have to send money, we have money coming to us from a sale of an asset, and all of a sudden we get dinged a fee. It's like, what? And dinged a fee and then taxes too. That is what we as consumers really get tired of. And that is why Fintech is such a great solution to this, because it comes down to the simple point of view that it will allow us to circumvent some of these traditional ways and be able to, for the lack of better terms, be our own bank and be financially independent. And so that might freak some people out, but I am going to break down how you become your own bank and why you want to become your own bank in the future, and why this is something you really don't want to roll your eyes at and you want to take notes on, is because this will be able to help you get rid of those fees and all that. And so back to smart contracts, when I was talking about real estate agents, and I kind of got side hustled there on into a different loophole. My point being is that smart contracts are going to be what our future of real estate is. We will have where our assets, whether we're paying money or we're paying a cryptocurrency for the asset, for the house or the property that we're purchasing or selling, it will allow us to receive it instantly. The smart contract, which will be known as an NFT for your home will be automatically put onto an NFT. It'll have a special serial number. It's going to have all of the ins and outs and all the details of what your home is, how many acres, what the dwelling type is, if it has any outbuildings, what the power situation is, what the water situation is, where your property limits and boundaries are. It's going to have all of that information housed into one document. And so that way it will live on the blockchain, and anybody who pulls that up can see that. Of course, there's going to be censored information, so that way people don't just be pulling up other people's information and that. But just like we do with public records right now, where you can go to the county assessor's office or any of those county offices and have access to public records, that is going to be the similar gist of it. And so when a real estate transaction happens, party A will say, okay, I'm selling this piece of property with a home or whatever for that's on this NFT. It's going to have a certain serial number to that NFT. It's going to then say the sell price is 5 Bitcoin, and you can pay through 5 Bitcoin, or you can pay in any manner that is equivalent to what the 5 Bitcoin are, right? And at that point, it'll be instant. These clearing houses, there's 4 actual clearing houses in the United States. These clearing houses are no longer going to be needed. What they do is they verify that funds are actually available for transfer, so that way someone doesn't get a deed to a house and takes ownership of a house and they don't pay. And so this is exactly what the Fintech, portion and solution will do through the NFTs and cryptocurrency on the blockchain. And so that's a very high level. There's some really cool projects out there that are working on doing that right now, that is tokenizing real estate and being able to then pay through a common denominator cryptocurrency of whatever the choice might be. So with that said, moving into how to become your own bank, many of you might be like, why do I want to become my own bank? How do I become my own bank? And maybe what are some of the risks of becoming and rewards of becoming my own bank? So why you want to become your own bank is the same things that you guys are dealing with now, is being frustrated with how long it takes for your money to get moved from one point to the next point. It would be the frustration that you guys feel when you are charged all these fees. It's the frustration that you guys feel when you have to pay, capital gains taxes, or you have to pay a fee to a certain real estate agent or any type of agency for their services, right? Now, I'm not advocating that we need to get rid of real estate agents, but the writing is on the wall. And if you are a real estate agent, you need to start understanding the power of Web3 and how to utilize Web3, so that way you don't become non-existent, because it will, within the next 5 years, real estate, our financial system, everything is going to look completely different. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get left in the dust. And so this is why we're having these conversations, so you can have a notice of what's coming and how to be able to properly prepare, right? It's kind of like seeing a hurricane out in the Gulf of Mexico. Dave and I are from Texas, and you see one out in the Gulf of Mexico. You're like, all right, I got 3 or 4 days before it gets here. I got to go get some gas. I got to board up the windows. I got to get water. You go through a whole preparation cycle. And so this is why we have these conversations. So the reason why you want to be your own bank is to start mitigating some of those fees and things that you are paying whether it's financial investments, whether it's financial institutions, or whether it's for services and or products that you're receiving. So the reason, or the way how, or the how to this is, to become your own bank, you have to have assets in the bank, right? So think of a traditional bank. They have money. They have your money. They've somehow gotten you to convince all of us to put our money in there, and then they reinvest it, and then they loan it out and collect, interest off of it. And that's how they make their money. So how are we going to make money, Tara, if we are our own bank? How do I even get that? Well, you will have to equip your bank with assets. So an asset would be cryptocurrency. There are 22,000 cryptocurrency coins and tokens available. And so those have different projects tied to them. And so it is very important for you, when this young lady, like David was sharing earlier, said, I'm not interested in cryptocurrency. It really breaks David and I's heart when we hear that, because, and this lady stated, because she wasn't willing to lose another friend. And I totally understand that. Like I empathize with her, because something's happened in her past where she's lost some money, or someone's lost some money, and a friendship has been burnt. And that's so sad, because it really doesn't need to be that way. But because we're in such a early on of the market, it is a little more cumbersome than easy. And so that creates confusion. And with money, it's always, you don't want to be confused when it comes to money. You want to make sure you understand the game you're playing and the rules, so that way you don't get taken or you don't lose your money, right? I'll share this openly, guys. David and I, we are invested into cryptocurrencies and digital assets through, the Fintech manner. I will share that before we got smart, we lost money too. We lost $5,000. And so I share that just because I want you guys to understand we have been there. It's not like we have just sitting over here, not, got any skin in the game. And when we lost that $5,000 and I understood where we were going with the financial tech and where cryptocurrency would be within 10 years, I realized this was not a $5,000 lesson just to say, whoop, okay, I'm done and never going to touch it again. this made me realize I need to get up to speed on this game so I don't lose any more money, or we don't lose any more money, and that way we can protect ourselves from any other things like this happening in the future to the best of our abilities. I mean, there's no guarantee in everything. Life is not guaranteed. Us breathing right now is not guaranteed. So we have to take that into consideration, right? So with that, the how is to make sure you allocate your bank with assets, and assets being cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and tokenizations. So right now, there's not a whole lot of tokenizations out there. It's still very, very new, and it's coming down the pipeline very quickly because BlackRock is now involved into tokenizing. So we're gonna start seeing that really come into heavy fruition within the next 12 months, if not sooner, because they're moving at the speed of light. But you can really be able to allocate assets through cryptocurrency and NFTs. NFTs, I will tell you guys, just because of where we are with the infrastructure and what the purpose they serve right now versus what they will serve in the future, the NFTs like the ape NFT, and I know there's an actual politically correct name for that. There's an actual title to that, and I keep on calling it the ape NFT, and I apologize because I can't remember off the top of my head what that proper name is for it, but you guys all understand the ape NFT that I'm talking about. That might or might not hold value in the future. I don't have a say on it. I don't know because I don't know the ins and outs of it. It's not an investment that we have, and so I haven't dove deep into it. But the reason why I say it might or might not hold value in the future is because the utility that it plays in our current market. So if it actually has a utility tied behind it, it's solving a problem, it's going to hold a lot of value in the future. But if it's just kind of a meme thing that somebody created and it was really cool because so-and-so created it and now you can own it, kind of like the Mona Lisa. When they tokenize the Mona Lisa, you're going to be able to own a fraction of the Mona Lisa. That is just more having a collection. So I say NFTs. The future NFTs will hold a lot of value. Right now, I just don't know, and I don't want to misguide anybody in the wrong direction of what those will do in the future. So I just, do your own research. Make sure you fully understand that before you jump all in on buying NFTs to allocate your bank as an app for assets, right? So that's important to know because, again, I told you guys, we're not going to lead you astray here. If I don't know it, if I don't feel comfortable with sharing like where my opinion of something is going, I don't want to put that out there because I don't want you guys to take that and be like, well, this is what Tara said and this is what's going to be so, even though I know you guys understand that. I just want you guys to understand this is for informative purposes for you guys to gain the knowledge to be able to compare the information that you have heard before from other creators that share, other avenues, other platforms that share on this, and be able to, make the right choice for you guys, right? So that's what the whole goal of this. Had to grab a drink of water there real quick. So take a pause real quick. Just welcome on everybody on in here. We greatly appreciate you jumping in here. Hey, Chef Andy, it's so good to see you. Hi, Giggles. It's good to have you up here. Come on up, love. Let's see if I can bring you, invite to speak. Omalara, I think I invited you to speak. I hope it brought you up. We've been having a little bit of a pickle on this. So if it doesn't bring you up, there you go. Come on up, love. Lisa, thanks for being here. Dylan, it's great to see you. Everybody over on our Twitch, our X Spaces, our Twitter. Twitter is X, ding dong Tara. LinkedIn and YouTube. We greatly appreciate you guys showing up and having this conversation. Miss Omalara, did you have a question before I proceed and move on?
Yes, thank you so much for bringing me up onto your stage. This is wonderful what you're doing. I have an economic awareness talk show that I do locally in Sacramento on 96.5, excuse me, KUBU. And I'm trying to sound the alarm and wake people up to get them to understand fintech Bitcoin, NFTs, some with utilities, some with what you're talking about, a smart contract attached to them, and some are just memes. You know, they have no real value, but they do support, or people use it as a philanthropist type of, or like you said, holding some sort of value by owning a fractional piece of the Mona Lisa. And so, if one wanted to learn more knowledge and just get in depth with how would you create a fintech blockchain sustainable economy, because I have done a little bit of tokenomics engineering and stuff like that, where could you go to kind of get studied on this so that you can help a community create their own, maybe even a cryptocurrency? I guess I'm not sure how you would go about doing that in the fintech field, so that people could, be a part of a decentralized organization, put their money into their coin or their token, build out infrastructure or build out things, create the bonds from the utility of the NFT, blah blah blah. I know I just asked a lot, but that's where things are going, like you said, and you see it where they're taking away the real estate agents' livelihood, giving them 1% when they have to spend gas. I'm in California, gas is like $6 a gallon, you know what I mean? And they're taking their livelihood away from them. They have to stage everything, they have to show people the houses, and then they're only going to get 1%. And the freaking Fed, that doesn't even exist, it's a corpse, it's a corporation, they're getting 6%. You know what I'm saying? So you see it where it's like, it's happening. And people, like you said, they better wake up and realize, like, snip and scratch, where's my cheese? Where's the next bit of financial gain gonna come from?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for jumping up here and sharing about who you are and what you're up to. We would love for everybody to make sure that they follow you, because it's a community thing that we have to do to bring awareness.
Yes.
It's so nice to hear other people talk about that they are raising the horns as well and saying, hooty hoo, y'all, we got to pay attention. And there's not David and I over here at LOLLC trying to, and it's not just us there. I mean, I'm plugged into a crypto fintech community or communities that are a plethora of people that I listen to their information. I sort through the information they share too, and so your first question that I heard was like, where do we find these resources to be able to be involved and to get ourselves footed in this industry? And one resource is, and I'm just going to shamelessly plug our Hello Pivot membership, is that we have a whole fintech section that breaks down exactly the information we're talking about here. I have videos in there of how to actually invest into cryptocurrency. If someone is like, hey, I want to buy some, I've done videos on just showing how I buy ours. And again, all of our information is like, this is how we're doing things. We're showing people what we are doing. You're more than welcome to, copy what we're doing. But it is not financial advice, because it is it's a very sensitive area when you're talking about people's money and transition, and especially when their dollar is no longer going as far as it used to be, especially as of June 9th, which was 3 days ago at the beginning. This last Sunday we just passed. On June 9th, the Saudi Arabia and United States deal on the petrodollar came to an end. That 50-year agreement came to an end. So we no longer have the petrodollar being backed by petro. And so our dollar is no longer backed by anything. Our dollar has lost 99% of its value. And so in our Pivot membership, I jump into a bunch of stuff like that. I have other creators information where I've they explain this so much better than I could. I've got them plugged into our membership and their information, and it's a base of YouTube. Some of it is majority of it is information that I have dug up and found or put together. But anybody can have access to that for $7 a month. Our membership, our Pivot Member Pro membership starts at $7 a month. And so that's, that's less than one coffee out in California these days, I tell you. And almost close to what a gallon of gas is. But if, like Lady Drew in our in our LinkedIn room brought up last week, she says there's people out there that might not be able to afford that $7 because they're on fixed incomes. And like I shared with her last week, was there's a plethora of information out between YouTube with these content creators. The biggest thing, that the reason why I share and I plug in our Hello Pivot membership where I've curated this information is because I've curated it through, I've taken the time to go through and put up stuff that I know David and I are personally involved in. Not that we're like personally involved that we're going to get a kickback. Just we've taken the information that they've given and we're doing it. We're applying it. And so we're sharing that with other people to show that. Another question I heard you share was, how can people create like their own cryptocurrencies, their own NFTs? There's two ways of going about that. People can either do it on their own, which again, you need to have the backing, the research, the understanding, the education, like you said, the tokenomics of understanding how to do those things. There are creators and companies out there that specialize just in that. Or you can, that leads me into option B, which is hire someone who specializes in that. And when you hire someone, because it is in the fintech kind of Web3 space, it might be economically sound, or it might be a little pricey. I don't know, because it just depends on what you're creating. It's very similar to like people creating apps right now. It depends on how much app building and cryptocurrency, building a cryptocurrency coin and or token is very invasive, and you really have to have a team of experts kind of to be making sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. And yes, there's not regulations within the United States yet, but there are use cases out there to follow that are doing really well. And so that was the second question I kind of heard. But I also wanted to say this. I give you mad kudos, Omalara, being another person in the community for sounding the alarm. Like David shared, the young lady on LinkedIn that shared with us today that she was, not really interested in cryptocurrency because of the friendship she lost. It hurt my heart, because I know in a few years here, we are going to be very mainstream into this. Once the large financial institutions can weasel their way into understanding how they can make money on it, it will be mainstream because they are backing the regulations and they are funding these politicians for the regulations. And that is why you see United States taking so long to get to the regulated conversations, unlike the UAE, Singapore, other countries, around the world, Japan, because there is a playbook behind the scenes that all of us are kind of speculating at, and we see enough writing on the wall to understand where we're going. And so for those that say, no, I'm not going to be interested in cryptocurrency, you guys, I have a conversation with my mom. She's 73 years old. She's retired. She's invested smartly through her career. And so she's, she has invested to where she is comfortable in living her retirement life. And my public service announcement to any baby boomer, older generation X right now would be, if you have a 401k, if you have a traditional investment portfolio, please, please, please don't just think you're taken care of. You are at the largest risk of them all, because especially with traditional investments in the traditional stock market, is heavily at risk right now, especially if you have bonds. Our bonds are crashing and they are being dumped left and right. The writing on the wall, and I'll just say it this way, is that in 5 years, maybe even a little bit longer than that, less than 10 for sure, there's going to be baby boomers that wake up and have nothing left in their 401ks or their traditional investments because of the changes that are happening with fintech on the backside and the volatility that's coming down the pipeline within our current stock market. And so I just really caution people to diverse. Like my mom always said, don't hold all your eggs in one basket. And the older generation, the baby boomers, the older generation X's, they are no fault to them, but they were taught of a system that is no longer valid. Social Security is not going to be here by 2033. So all of that Social Security that you and I paid into, if you're a younger generation X or a Zennial like myself or a millennial or anything younger, there's not going to be Social Security available for you guys when it comes your turn. And I share that out of nothing but love, but I'm like Omalara of sounding that horn. People need to take notice. And if you say, okay, Tara, so I'm taking notice, I'm going to go do my research and investigate this a little bit more. But what would be your strategy if you wanted to make that change? Honestly, I'll tell you what I did. And what David and I did, because we are transparent about what we do, and you guys can learn from that. When 2020 rolled around and the pandemic showed up, and I realized the writing on the wall of where we were going, we cashed out our traditional 401ks because of the pandemic. There was they mitigated the amount of hit, like fees you would pay on for cashing out earlier. And they kind of washed those away and spread those out through like 4 years of, taxes. So you really, I think it was like you got dinged half of what you normally would, and then they could spread that tax out over 4 years. And we cashed out our 401ks, which the minimal amount of fee that we paid was so minor. And we rolled 100% of that over into cryptocurrencies. Now, you might ask, what cryptocurrencies did we invest in? I am very cautious about giving out where we're at in investments. And it is only because I don't want people to say, well, I did what you did and I lost all my money. I don't want anybody to lose money. But what I will say is that there are 3 asset categories within cryptocurrency that are available. There's a store of value, which would be known as Bitcoin or Ethereum. There is meme coins, M-E-M-E, meme coins, which only hold value based on what the community. So Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, those coins only hold value to what the community thinks they are worth. So if there's a lot of people buying in, the value goes up. If people start selling, the value goes down. There is no store of value like Bitcoin in it. And then there is altcoins, ALT coins is what they call them. I also call them utility sides because there's utility, there's AI in they all serve some sort of utility factor, meaning they're all solving a problem within our current economical status. And so it really comes down to the simple point of understanding where you're putting your money. Most people right now put their money within Bitcoin because it is the first to market. It was the first everybody's known about. It also is hovering around $65,000 to $70,000 right now. By the way, if you're new to this conversation, you do not need $65,000, $70,000 to be invested into Bitcoin. That is a fractional purchase. You can buy in fractionally. If you had $10, you could buy in on Bitcoin, right? That's important to know because that was one of the things, one reason I never got involved in Bitcoin in 2010 when I first learned about it. It came out in 2009. Well, it came public in 2009, I should say, is that I didn't know you could buy in fractionally, right? And so for anybody to know, you can buy in fractionally and it's not a problem. However, with that stated, those 3 categories are, I would, just my personal opinion, a meme coin category is kind of the get rich quick kind of thinking. It is something to get in and get out. It is going to be quick, fast, and volatile. Half the time, if you start hearing people talk about a meme coin like Pepe or Shiba Inu or Doge, if you hear the mass media or anybody massively talking about that on the internet, it's too late. I'm just going to tell you right now. If you start hearing people chatter, it's already too late to be a part of it. You're going to get in on the backside. People are going to be selling and you're going to lose money. Why do I say that? I've learned from experience. So I'm sharing that with you guys, that you just want to be mindful about meme coins. It is like putting your money in the slot machine at the casino. You might get rich, you might not. You never know. It's just a gamble. The store of value is a different thing. There's nothing wrong with Bitcoin and Ethereum. They just are first to market, and they have they've already hit a higher value. Obviously there's room for them to go up. There's a lot of speculation in the market, and there's a lot of technical analysis in the market that will share that it will go up. But in my personal professional opinion, I would be cautious of those two, just because you never know anything in any investment. Let's just say that stock market or cryptocurrency, you just don't know. It's always volatile. But the amount of gain that you're going to make in those two is not going to be as much as if you catch a smaller coin that is over in the alt group categories of utility, or finance utility, or AI utility, or metaverse, or any of those, that is going to have a greater gain. And so it's not a bad area to put your money in. It is good for a long-term investment. If that's what you would like to do, is sit it and forget it, that's feasible. But my professional opinion is that you're not going to have the same gains that you will have when you invest into a utility minded, focused altcoin. And so there it is, out of the bag. If I was investing, and when David and I continue to invest as we do weekly, because that's important to dollar cost average into your investments, which means invest frequently over smaller amounts, frequently over an amount of time, instead of just one amount at one point over a large amount of time. That allows you to get the best, again, dollar cost average into your investment. But I would, and where we invest our investments are lying is within the altcoins on that side, in utility. So if it's utility within the AI, meaning if it's a token that is AI based, I do my research through the AI. And again, guys, we do have this information for the public in our Pivot membership. If you want to see that, I've put that onto a document where you guys can see it. But I am very cautious about, sharing that just out here, because again, I don't want people to say, well, Tara's invested in that, and so I'm going to get in that. And then all of a sudden we all lose, because none of this is guaranteed, right? Nothing, life's not guaranteed. This breath that I'm taking right now was not guaranteed. So just note that. So utility side of whether you want to be an AI, tokens that are solving AI or AI projects, metaverse projects, whether you have a token that's in or a coin that is based with connected to a metaverse, or utility within the finance. Again, we've been talking about how to become your own bank today. And so that's all within the financial realm. And there is a whole set of assets, utility assets, tokens, coins that are cryptocurrencies, whatever you want to label that as, that are going to transform our financial system and make things instant, like the hedge fund owner that was moving $50 million a month or two ago, and he was able to move that in 3 seconds for 20 cents. So it is those use cases that are going to be able to solve the problems we have. And that, if I was telling anybody any investment advice would be to look at those and to do your research in the altcoin area and find something that is, a penny, less than a penny, maybe it's 10 cents, maybe it's 20 cents, something in there, and it's going to have the future growth of dollars, maybe thousands of dollars, maybe, millions of dollars. You just don't know. Whatever that future is going to be, we can only speculate. But we are in the time of the Microsoft, Google stock options at the very beginning when they were, cents on the dollars, and now they are, not cents on the dollars. And so that is that. When I share that investment strategy, it is, whatever strategy works for you. David and I are long-term investors. We are kind of a set it and not forget it, but set it and let it marinate. We are not day traders. Day trading is a whole nother conversation. Miss Erica was in here last week, and she was sharing with us in our LinkedIn side that she was a part of day trading, and it just confused the heck out of her. She didn't know what she was doing, and she lost a lot of money. And not that she's turned off from crypto, because she's, just understands that she needs to get more information. So she's understanding what she's doing. But that's a simple fact of, and what we try to share with people is there are tons of companies out here of like, let me invest your crypto for you, or let me do this for you, or let me, day trade for you. And I'm going to be very frank. No, thank you. Just for my own personal opinion. It's because there's so many people out here that are getting scammed by letting other people do it for them and not understanding what and how it works so that they can make sure that they're protected and not getting scammed. And so, Omalara, I greatly appreciate you jumping up here. Hopefully that helped within a very long-winded kind of conversation there. But if you have anything else you want to add on or ask, please jump in.
That was phenomenal. And I thank you for all that knowledge. I will be tapping into your, I'm doing like 5 things at a time, because I'm getting ready to set up for a podcast also. But I have sent to my text messages all your different platforms so that I can go through there and, join up. And I did, Hello Pivot, there it is. That's the one. That's the last one I was missing, but I sent 3 things to myself already, and I'll definitely be a member, and I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely, and greatly appreciate you and your show that you're hosting on all your platforms to be able to raise the same conversation to others, because it is going to take a community of us out there that are educating people and not trying to scam people, because again, there are creators out there that it's nothing against them, but they see an opportunity, and that opportunity is not good for everybody. And so thank you.
I know, it's so sad. And then hopefully our community like Reddit, we can start singling out the doggone scammers too and going after them, because that's the harshest thing with this new starting of this community is the rampant scammers, and just how people just don't know and will give their wallet key and this stuff, and they don't know yet. So
they just don't know.
I will be bigging you guys up on my show, and I would like to get in touch with you guys separately so that we can create that community, and the more people know, the better we all will be.
Yeah.
So thank you again.
Absolutely. And absolutely reach out to us, ping us on the backside. We'd love to be able to, collaborate, because that is what we talk about. Collaboration is the new currency, to be able to help communities grow instead of living in the world of what are you going to do for me, kind of way of the old mentality of thinking that people have kind of found themselves in. So absolutely. Thank you so much. So, and
yes.
Great.
Right, you guys have a wonderful, super fantastic rest of your day.
You too, ma'am, and great. Have a wonderful podcast coming up.
Gotta go do this podcast.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. We greatly appreciate.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye for now.
Oh wait, I got.
So, Amalara brought up so many, great points there, guys, is that I was actually just listening to a YouTube this morning about cryptocurrency, and they were sharing the simple fact about, education and the importance of sharing education with the community. And one, their guest said it perfectly. If you guys haven't been tuned in, and it's hard to be tuned in if you're not looking for it, because they don't bring it to the masses. They don't bring it all forward. And so one of the things was that the gentleman said, well, the SEC is, spending their time going after legitimate cryptocurrency companies or, fintech corporations that are creating cryptocurrencies. But in the meantime, they could be spending their time on going after these companies or these entities or these creators and individuals that are scamming people. Instead of going after legitimate, corporations that are, wanting to work with them and, get regulations in tow. And so it was a great point, because that's exactly what's going on. This is why I share there is an ulterior motive and agenda behind the scenes that they have not released the playbook for us to see. A lot of us in the community speculate, and when you start having really smart people that do the analysis, the technical analysis, the legal analysis, understand how laws are created, understand how government agencies work. When you start having these people come together and talk about this in a community and be able to share the fact of, this is not how it's supposed to go, this is not kosher, you start to realize that you can paint the picture and replicate the playbook that they have. And that is why you see so much censorship about people talking about cryptocurrencies and Web3, metaverse, AI things, because we start putting the common denominators together and start putting the picture together. We start understanding as a whole what is coming forth. And then we see opportunity as individuals to be able to help as a community to say, hey, this is where we need to be paying attention, and not be paying attention to the geopolitical sense stuff that they're. And look, I don't take anything away from what is happening around this world. It is sad in its own right, and it's disgusting because they utilize it as distraction while they try to screw everybody else over. And that's my personal opinion. And so at the end of the day, people are losing their lives based on over money and resources, which has been what has constantly been this world's issue, is that, we go into wars because of resources and power. And so it's just, we have to stop and start talking about these things and start showing people how to look at the other direction where the news is, but they don't make it mainstream, and start, not giving them the power that they have been having based on, the ways that they've been showing up. So with that said, we've got into, sharing how and why you want to be your own bank. I'm going to share one more thing, because Amalara came up here in the middle of that share, and I wanted to finish that point. But I greatly appreciate her coming up, because that was such a wealth of information and knowledge. And guys, follow everybody that's here. It is good to create community. Follow us, follow your neighbor to the left, follow neighbor to the right and up from you and down from you, and all around, because this is how we create community, as long as they resonate with you. But when you become your bank and you're adding digital assets like cryptocurrency to it, that cryptocurrency is going to appreciate in value, especially if you're investing into more of the altcoin market, maybe some of the store of value. I'm not going to take anything away from that side. Again, memes can make you money too, but they're fast moving and very volatile. And so that's why I share. If you like fast moving and you don't care about losing money, jump right in and have fun. But if you're, being very cautious and don't want to lose your money, then be mindful. But with that said, when you have your digital assets like cryptocurrencies, NFTs within your cold wallet, which is a wallet which is just like a purse that you guys have now, but it's a digital wallet that people don't have access to unless you give up your keys or your seed phrases and things like that, and give up the keys to your vault, essentially. When you own those assets and they start appreciating in value, and you start having an asset that you purchased at 10 cents, but now it's worth $100, that means that you have financial capabilities to be able to become your bank. What does that mean? Well, not only do you have assets that you can purchase goods and services for with those entities, with those cryptocurrencies, but in addition, say your mom or your dad or your sister, your cousin, your brother, or whoever it is, niece or nephew, they need to borrow, $10,000 to go to college or to buy a car or whatever it is. You now get to become the bank, as you have been before, and loaned out your hard-earned money. But now you can loan out your cryptocurrency for a interest with an interest rate. So you could, instead of the bank charging them 10 or 20%, whatever they charge them, you could say, well, I'm going to charge you at 3% interest and be able to, loan that out. Now, here's the thing. If you are smart about your investments and you allocate them properly through, the proper channels when they appreciate, your money will be working for itself before you ever loan it out. And that's important. That the reason why is you then mitigate your risk to where if someone does borrow $10,000 or 10,000, value worth of $10,000 through any kind of cryptocurrency, if they take it and they don't ever pay it back, you've already got that money working for itself, and it already paid for itself. And this was extra money that you then, if you lose, yeah, it sucks, but it's not like you took a hit to your bottom line. There's, that is, again, a part of our Pivot membership, where you can dive in and understand how to allocate those resources. Once you start your cryptocurrency starts appreciating, where you allocate that, how you mitigate your legal liability, where you're no longer able to be sued and someone can sue you for all your net worth, how you be able to allocate that into, cash value life insurance policies that allow your money to work for itself, so you can borrow against it and then loan that out and charge an interest rate on that to whoever you are. I heard a gentleman the other day who owns a traditional business. He makes about $1 million to $2 million a year in his business, in profit, I should say, profitable income, or profitable take home, that he's able to put into his investments. He turns around and to invest that. And he puts that immediately into his investments on, he moves it through the trust, and he moves it into the family trust, and then he puts it into, allocates it into cash life insurance policies. And from there, his family, he created a bank just by doing that. His kids came up to time to go to college, and they borrowed from the family bank the money that they need to pay for their tuition. And he said, I don't pay for my kids' tuition, even though obviously, $1 million to $2 million in profits a year, that I've already paid taxes on, that's mine. I don't just give it to them. The reason being is because I have my money working for me. I then allow them to take a loan to pay for their college education. And then I work a deal with them to say, okay, you can pay that loan back over a lifetime. You can take 40 years to pay it back with 1% interest or 0.5% interest or whatever they agree upon. And they end up, he says, my wife and my children do that. They take out loans all the time and they pay it back all the time, because they know that that's the family bank. And they know that what I have set up for them is generational income for not just our lifetime, not just our children's lifetime, but our children's children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, all of those generations to come, as long as we understand that, look, you pay back the money that you borrowed, but you don't have to pay it back in a 4-year, a 5-year, a 10-year. You can have 30, 40 years, because that money is already working for itself through putting it into the channels that you did. And so knowing those things and how to allocate your resources allows you to then become the financial institution. And this is why fintech and cryptocurrency, blockchain, and all of this is such a deterrent and kind of a challenger to the traditional banking institutions that we have now, because of the simple reason that you're taking money out of the big boys' pockets, the Bank of America, the Wells Fargo, the JP Morgan Chase. They're losing money when you start keeping the money and start then maintaining and helping your family out through those allocations. And so that is how you become a bank, whether it's individually, whether it's for your business, however it is. It's just the structure of how you set it up, how you set up trusts, how you set up legal things, entities, how you set up your businesses, how you set up your, just LLCs, how you set up all of that structure into is how you then make sure legally and correctly to mitigate your taxes as much as you can, responsibly, and through the way that they tell you to in the written laws, and then be able to allow yourself that financial freedom to where you're not paying, 5, 10, 15, 20% interest rates on whether it's a credit card or it's a, some sort of loan. And the other side of that is when you are now the loan issuer, you get to make up the rules of what the circumstances and the requirements are. Meaning, if you are, like they do now, they take a credit check and they look at, your credit, history and your payment history and look at how much money you have coming in. And they look at your debt to income ratio and they look at all of these factors. You get to be able to start setting those factors to where if you want all of those, you can have that and then some. Or if you're like, nope, I'm not interested in any of that. And I just want to be able to loan my family money because it's already working for it. It's already made that money. It's already safe. So if they don't pay it back, that's the goal. But if they don't, I'm not at risk. And that rolls into the part of the conversation I was sharing with you guys of what's the risk and the reward to being your own bank. Well, the risk is that, if you're not smartly allocating your assets properly, that then you will not have your money working for you. And if someone does not pay you the money back, you do lose that. That is a risk. That's a risk that banks right now, traditional financial institutions right now are taking. If you didn't know, it was like $5.2 billion was the amount of that banks lost last year, or in the calendar year, not calendar year, from this point back a year is $5.2 billion. Let me get this out right. That they've lost in people not paying back their loans, their credit cards, all of this. That's a hit. That's money, guys. That's your money. That's your money that you gave to them to hold, that they reinvested and loaned it out to these people. And now they have to banks have to come up with this money to replace that money, that $5.2 billion that they have to replace. And this is why you have Jerome Powell and all of these big wigs at the top talking about if they take, if they're going to bail out banks, if anybody crashes. Jerome Powell just came out last week and said there's 63 banks within the United States that are on their verge of collapse, that are in trouble because of the $5.2 billion that was lost last year. And are they going to bail them out? Well, it was Janet Yellen less than 6 months ago made it very well known that she said, we're not going to bail out banks this time. Not like we did in 2008 when we bailed out all these banks. And so it is very important for us to understand, what is going on, how this is working, how the debt to income, the debt that we continue to print, it's over $34 trillion, approaching $35 trillion right now. And they're looking at lowering interest rates so they can print more money. The reason they're doing that is because yes, that WAR word is at play. And when that word is at play in the society, it is a moneymaker for the big institutions. That is why we do and go to WAR, is because, or are a part of that, is because it allows us to print money uncontrollably and then send it out, send it to others, and then that money trickles back into the big companies like Boeing and, you know, all of those that have these contracting, you know, or that have these contracts that fund and fuel the WAR machine. So it is a vicious cycle. And when we start to understand what is at play, it really makes sense. And then we realize, we don't want to be a part of that nonsense anymore. We want to be our own banking institutions. We want to have control over our own finances. If our family needs money or if our family needs to take advantage of that, we want to be able to be in control of that instead of having to go be at the mercy of bank, your credit score, your payment history, all of those things, which really stand in a lot of people's way. And then they have to turn to other means. And when people have to turn to other means, that's when things get really volatile. And so it is important for us to understand now is the time, just like, you know, sharing in here and everybody that's come up on stage and being able to share these facts, and is that now's the time to understand that the transition is here. You can make small amount of purchases. $10, you know, is the minimum purchase on some cryptocurrency exchanges to buy into cryptocurrencies and hold your bag, as they call it, to get your bag out and start putting your allocations, your assets in to hold why they appreciate over the next 3 to 5 years, because they're going to appreciate a lot faster than that it did when we went through the whole end of .com boom, when we went to the internet boom, when Google and Microsoft decided to, you know, their stocks exploded. That took a good 15, 20 years for that maturity date. And now, if you invest now, it's going to be 3, 5, 10, no more than 7 to 10 years max. But I will tell you, by 2030, there's going to be a large amount of this that is already going to be implemented that you are going to be like, wow, it's already here. The other side of that is they already have you thinking that we're in an instant society, like I talked about at the beginning of this conversation, where we're in where you PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, those entities where you pay someone and it's instant. They already have you thinking things are instant, so that way when they make it instant on the backside, that you go, oh, well, nothing's changed. Everything's still just tap and go, pay and go. It's all instant. I'm good. Because they're making that now. They're taking on all the risks. So when they do change it on the backside and the financial system does change and they flip that financial switch, there will be no obstruction or change that the general masses have to go through. Thus, then not scaring people, is because people don't do change well. So, so with that said, we have covered this amazing topic today. I want to go ahead and thank everybody. It's so good to have everybody in here. Miss Giggles, so good to have you. Lisa, thank you. Dylan, and I love this other gentleman or young lady who has joined us, but I cannot pronounce that name because it is in language that I cannot read. So thank you for you being here. And everybody that is listening over on our X Spaces, our YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, all of you guys, thank you for being here. If you have any questions, drop those up in the chat, drop those in a DM to us. We will absolutely get on those. Come on up on stage if you would like to, but we're wrapping up this conversation as we have just beat this one to death in sharing of how and why, and encouraging you guys to take your own research into your own hands and get to knowledgeable about this, and start, instead of watching reruns of the Friends episodes, maybe jump into YouTube or into our Pivot membership for $7 a month and listen to those videos that we have curated and some other content creators have created that will help you guys get a lay of the land and the understanding of how to do things and where to build and what to do with that. Again, We are a Web3 agency. We help businesses pivot from Web2 to Web3. Our goal about having our rooms is for information and education to help you guys understand the importance of where we are and where we're going. So you can also apply all this stuff as individuals. And that way you as an individual can also be prepared. We are not just a specific cryptocurrency company. That's not what we just focus on, but we are Web3. And in Web3, a part of that is the fintech, blockchain, cryptocurrency conversation. It is one of my favorite things to talk about just because the change that's coming, the opportunities we all have to take advantage of and to get into the game. This is where a lot of you are sitting in the stands listening to this information, and that's great. But you got to get up at some point, walk down the stairs, and step onto the court. Whether the basketball game is flying past you while you're on the court, at least you're on the court. Get involved, because this is where you guys will be able to change your future and probably your family's future for many generations to come. And so with that said, David Jones, would you like to add anything to this conversation as we wrap this up?
No, just appreciate everybody joining us and being with us today. Make sure you guys come and join us tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time and be a part of our amazing Hello Pivot live broadcast in the Hello Plaza. And then you guys be on the lookout for a brand new, or should I say not even a brand new, but we're bringing back the Getting Naked podcast that we'll be hosting next Friday. In our Hello Plaza as well. And we're going to keep this limited to certain outlets because we really want you guys to come and join us in the metaverse, that you can join from your cell phone, from your laptop, from your iPad, or your VR headset. So press the button and come and experience the future, because it's already here. And this is what we continue to share with people. Do not get left behind. And, you know, just for you all, this is where we have to, you know, open up the four most expensive things: a closed mind, a closed mouth, a closed heart, and definitely a closed hand. And so make sure you're opening those things up and understanding that, you know, things are changing, times are changing. Are you changing is the question. And so without further ado, that's all that we have to share with you guys. Come and join us also on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, as we are going to be hosts on an amazing podcast, Kiss of Fame, with Roberta Pacino on her podcast that's going to take place in the metaverse. And that is Al Pacino's sister, that literally we have been able to transition her entire business, where she's an amazing artist, but she's also, you know, taking her business forward into showcasing her gallery, into being able to showcase her Etsy store, her fine wall art, and really taking her art to a whole new level for people around the world. And so you guys make sure you come and join. And without further ado, you guys know the drill: love,
Kindness,
integrity,
but most importantly,
commitment,
and consistency.
and until next time,
Toodles! See
See
you
you later.
tomorrow.